Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Thursday, May 26th, Memorial Day Getaway Day edition of the Bottom Line Lexington podcast. Big news in the Big Blue Nation yesterday. Isaiah Briscoe and Marcus Lee announced their intentions. Isaiah Briscoe, as we had detailed on this show many times, made the right choice. He came back to school. Simply no room in the NBA for a kid who shoots 46% free throws and 13% three-pointers. The Marcus Lee transfer, on the other hand, something that I really don't understand. So he's going to sit out next year. He's going to transfer to another school. So by the time he's available for the next draft, which is 2 years from now, after he plays his senior year, he'll be 23 years and 9 months old, going up against kids who are like 19 years old. NBA teams don't draft kids who are 23 years and 9 months old. They just don't. Not in this day and age. He says he wants to move closer to home, quote unquote, but yet the teams at the top of his list, Iowa State and Kansas, his home is in California. You'd think he might want to go to the Pac-10 if he wanted to be close to home. Big 12 isn't exactly the West Coast. Cal came out yesterday and said the players coming in next year have no bearing on the fact that Marcus Lee is transferring. Sure it doesn't. This kid averaged 6 minutes a game his freshman year, 10 minutes a game his sophomore year. Of course it has something to do with it. He doesn't want to be sitting on the end of the bench. How would you feel going into the pros only getting 10 minutes a game? He had his chance this past season, and he blew it. 6 points and 6 rebounds, and we've detailed in the last 23 games, he got double-digit points twice and fouled out 6 times. Then at the Combine, he swore up and down that if he went back to school, he would not transfer under any circumstance. Boy, that changed quickly. Marcus Lee was in a very tough spot. If he comes back to Kentucky, he runs the risk of getting very few minutes on the court and being shown up by the freshmen that are going to come in next year as well. According to these recruiting experts, who I hate to listen to, by the way, is there anything more miserable on the radio than listening to a quote-unquote recruiting expert? Good God, that's awful. That's awful radio. I wish people around here understood that, but then again, I'm a big city boy coming back to Kentucky. So what do I know? But according to these recruiting experts, these freshmen who are coming in are better players than Marcus Lee. Of course, I heard that about Skal Labissiere too, but that's another topic for another day. Bottom line on this, Isaiah Briscoe made the right move in coming back. Hopefully, he'll be able to hit some jump shots next season. But Marcus Lee, I don't know what he's doing. Everybody's coming on the internet saying, oh, both these kids made the right move. Did Marcus Lee make the right move? We'll see. There was an article in the Herald Leader this morning about UK jersey numbers. And it was all over Twitter yesterday and social media, only in Kentucky. Do you really care what jersey number these kids are going to be wearing 6 months from now? Are you that hard up for entertainment around here? But then again, to quote my good friend Deion Sanders from my days in Atlanta, look good, feel good, play good, pay good. I get it. Kids want their numbers. But the fact that Big Blue Nation is so interested in this amazes me. Women's basketball, we hate to talk about that on this show, but something caught my eye. They have a new assistant coach in their efforts to mop up or clean up this horrible situation they're in. A woman named Dunn, who I had never seen or heard of before the last couple of days, is now an assistant coach for the women's team. Apparently, she won WNBA titles, Hall of Fame, whatever. The only thing I know, I saw a picture of her. I immediately thought that's a cross between B. Arthur of Golden Girls fame and Ray Nitschke, the old Green Bay Packers linebacker, and the guy who got his freaking neck broke in The Longest Yard, the original Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, not the lame remake with Adam Sandler. I think he broke his freaking neck. Yeah, that guy. For you old schoolers out there, the only thing I think of when I see this woman, and then there's Maude. Reds lose again last night. I can't believe it. 3-1 in Chavez Ravine last night. 10th loss in a row for the Reds. Still not their longest winning streak in the last calendar year. They lost 13 last September. But then again, everybody was watching football, so who cared? Dan Straley, 7 innings, 3 earned runs. Still not good enough with this offense. Straley's ERA down to 2.98, making our phrase Finnegan and Straley, then pray for rain daily, for the Reds rotation, coming through yet again. In the 3-game series with the Dodgers, the Reds scored 3 runs, 9 hits, 6 errors. On pace now to lose 110 games. Unbelievable. If you fell asleep on the Tuesday night game, you saw Joey Votto stomp a paper airplane, inducing boos from the Dodger fans. That's twice in the last 2 weeks that Votto has incensed the fans on the road. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, the Phillies, he was acting like he was going to throw a ball in the stands to one of their fans, and then he wound up turning around and threw the ball back to the pitcher. I love the Joey Votto heel turn. This is the best heel turn since Hulk Hogan turned into Hollywood Hulk Hogan and the NWO in 1996. By the way, people are killing Votto. A 1-for-4 night, and now he's batting .205 on the season. He's terrible, right? Well, he still leads the team in on-base percentage, so he's not that terrible. Speaking of terrible, Eugenio Suarez, over his last 20, down to .227 batting average on the year. Way to go. This team just can't hit. None of them can hit. In 47 games this year, the Reds have scored 3 or less 27 times. That's how you lose games, ladies and gentlemen. Bad bullpen, can't score. No wonder they're awful. The Reds' magical mystery tour continues this weekend as they travel to Milwaukee to begin a 3-game series. Maybe they could get a game or 2 there. How's this for a travel schedule? Their 3-city road trip. They go to L.A., come back to Milwaukee, then go back out to Colorado before coming back to Cincinnati. Did the Reds piss off some travel agents or something? Who does that trip? Could you not go L.A., Colorado, Milwaukee? You have to go backtrack? Unbelievable. More on the Brewers later in the show. NBA last night. Cleveland wins by 38 over Toronto to go up 3-2. Headed back to Canada for Game 6. Whether it's Game 6, whether it's Game 7, Cleveland will finish this thing off and make the NBA Finals to face either OKC or Golden State. And that series continues tonight in Oakland. Golden State down 3-1 at home. They're still a 7.5-point favorite. If there's ever a night to take a favorite, tonight's it. Golden State wins this game probably easily by double digits. I won't bet it because it's against my religion to take favorites. But Golden State should win this. That Game 6, that's going to be a doozy at OKC. Speaking of the Warriors and people now jumping off that bandwagon, Charles Barkley now has come out and said, I'm picking OKC to win it all. But a Golden State Warriors fan took issue with that and tried to pick a fight with him. Believe me, I know what happens when you have an opinion that differs from most people that you're around. I try to promote this show sometimes on message boards here and there. Those people hate me. They call me every name in the book. I've been threatened with pitchforks, torches. I've been told to F off many, many, many times. And why? Because I'm a bad person? No, they don't know who I am. Just because my opinion may differ from theirs and I'm going about things a little bit differently. Does it make them bad people? Does it make me a bad person? Just like Charles Barkley. If he picks against your team, doesn't make him a bad person. When Kentucky was 38-0, I had money on Wisconsin that night. Does that make me a bad person? No. I'm just trying to pick the right team. That's what happens when you make your decisions based on emotion. Some of us live in big boy world, and some of us are just fans. And that's okay. But I can sympathize with Charles Barkley on this one. He and I have nothing in common, probably except this. Adam Silver, not David Silver from 90210, but Adam Silver came out and said, our refs are right 90% of the time. What about the other 10%? And how come those other 10% usually fall in the last 2 minutes of playoff games when they need to be right the most? Amazing how that works out. Football, our old friend Peyton Manning is back in the news. It turns out he's not going to sue Al Jazeera for that report that he was doing HGH. That's funny. Ryan Howard of the Phillies, he's suing them. Ryan Zimmerman of the Nationals, he's suing them. Why doesn't Peyton Manning sue them? Peyton Manning's all about money. He can get a lot from Al Jazeera. Or maybe Al Jazeera actually has their facts together and Peyton doesn't want to go to court and have to testify and actually tell the truth, which is that he has done HGH. Oh, and by the way, the NFL has mysteriously yet to question all the NFL players that were named in that report, especially and including Peyton Manning. Isn't it amazing how all this works out? Especially when Peyton Manning's representatives showed up at the door of the reporter from Al Jazeera threatening him. That's a true story. So everybody that just kisses Peyton Manning's butt like he's the greatest of all time, do your research on this guy. There's a reason why Peyton Manning is on the Mount Rushmore of my all-time jerks in sports list, along with Lance Armstrong, Jim Nantz, and Ryan Braun. There's a reason for that. The more facts that come in about this guy, the more I can't believe that people let him slide. But he'll slide out of this one just like he slides out all the rest of them. Unbelievable. But yet I'll go somewhere this weekend. There'll be somebody in a Peyton Manning's jersey. I can guarantee it. More NFL running back news. Arian Foster, who has led the NFL in touchdowns twice, led the league in rushing once, but tore his Achilles tendon last season, says he's ready to sign with an NFL team in about a month more of rehab. Arian Foster, you were great 4 years. The last 6 years, you were great for 4 of those years. But last year, before you were injured, in 63 carries, you averaged 2.6 yards per carry. That was before you were injured. By far the worst of your career. And now you're going to be 30 years old when the season starts in September. Anybody who signs Arian Foster is desperate because he doesn't have it anymore. And if you look at the numbers, they all say running backs that hit the age of 30 are done. Actually, it's 28. But that's something we'll save for our fantasy football shows later this summer. But good luck, Arian Foster. Your career's done. Speaking of guys whose careers are done, Marshawn Lynch, also the retired Marshawn Lynch, now says he wants to get back in the game maybe. Marshawn Lynch, also 30 years old. Before he was injured last year, he was averaging a career worst 3.8 yards a carry for a team completely based on the running game. And that 3.8 was the worst of his career. These 30-year-old running backs who try to get back in the league, I understand they're trying to get one more payday, but any team worth their salt in the league, they're not going to sign Arian Foster or Marshawn Lynch, no matter how good they were just a few short years ago. Baseball, Jackie Bradley Jr., 29-game hitting streak. Pete Rose and his 44-game streak shaking in his shoes, but he'll sign those shoes for you if you give him a little money. There was a guy at the Cubs-Cardinals game in St. Louis yesterday. The guy was wearing a Cubs hat, wearing a Cardinals jersey. Draw a line in the sand, dude. Pick a team. Pick a side. Don't be that guy who wears something from both teams and then after the game, oh, my team won. No, they didn't. Both your teams lost because you're a moron. It was like that guy when I was in elementary school. Every Christmas, he came in with a T-shirt of the team that won the Super Bowl the previous year. Well, the genius Dusty Baker is at it again. He gave his star player Bryce Harper, only the best player in baseball, only last year's MVP, gave him the day off yesterday against his division rival, the Mets. The Mets are the only competition that the Nationals have to win their division. But yet, he sits out his best player against that team? Way to go, Dusty. Oh, well, in the last 35 games, he's only got a 200 batting average. And he doesn't have any home runs since May the 13th. That's almost 2 weeks. Well, guess what he does do? He walks. He leads the major leagues with 48 walks. He's still, despite his career low batting average, he's still 4th in the major leagues in on-base percentage right now. And you want to sit him down? Dusty, what are you thinking? Same old story for Dusty. Great in the regular season, terrible in the postseason when his decisions are magnified and you could judge the results. 30-year reunion of the Boston Red Sox American League Championship team in 1986. Hard to believe the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs 30 years ago, but it did. Wade Boggs, a member of that team. I remember Wade Boggs sitting after Game 6 crying in the dugout. After that World Series, literally crying in the dugout. Maybe it was over Margot Adams. Google it, kids. But still, Wade Boggs shows up at this reunion wearing his World Championship World Series ring that he won with the Yankees. You don't do that, dude. And, by the way, this is also the 30th anniversary of Dave Kingman sending a rat to a female reporter who covered his team, the Oakland A's, 30 years ago. He was fined $3,500. So today, what, $7,000, $8,000? He sent a rat to a female reporter in a box. It was just gifted to her. What if some dude does that today? They kick him out of the league. Dave Kingman was a piece of work. Okay, it's Mac Daddy Stogie time. We went 1-1 yesterday, but again, in baseball, when you take underdogs and you win, when you split 1-1, you'll make a little bit of a profit. That's what we look for every day on this show. One game tonight we like. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves. Milwaukee 20-26. My beloved Braves 12-33. So how are the Braves favored tonight? Their starting pitcher, Matt Whistler, 2.93 ERA. In the month of May, his ERA, 1.80. Why in God's name am I even thinking about going against them? Willie Peralta for the Brewers, 6.99. Why would I go with the Brewers as a dog tonight? Well, this year at home, the Braves are 2-19. Anytime the Braves are favored this year, and this shows you how bad this team is, They've only been favored in 3 games this year. They lost all 3 of those games. The Braves have lost 3 in a row. We always go against streaks. When you've lost 3, we're going to keep going against you until you prove that you can win. Brewers actually playing better of late, 5-5 in their last 10. I worry about their closer, Jeffress. He's pitched the last 2 nights, got 2 saves in those games, so they're going to have to mix and match their bullpen. But Peralta over Whistler tonight. Give me the Brewers, simply the better team, over the Braves in Atlanta. Your Mac Daddy Stogie of the night. Hopefully you're smoking that Stogie by the 9th inning. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Thursday, May the 26th edition of the Bottom Line Lexington podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And again, email us anytime, bottomlinelex@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @bottomlinelex. Thanks again, and until next time, may the winners be yours.